Hi, and welcome to another episode of Hot Takes with me, the Silver Fox. The CAS report has been out for a couple of days now, and a lot of people have been sort of walking back their previous views on what they have said or thought they'd said or may have given the impression that and all that kind of thing. Oh, well, I worked on what I was told at the time and it now seems that I was wrong and blah, 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 blah. And all these people, reverse ferreting it's called. Walking it back and saying, yes, we got it wrong. We're sorry. Won't do it again. But there is one group for whom this cannot happen because they took a stance and pushed so very hard in one single direction that walking it back is going to be rather humiliating. That, of course, is the SNP. And since the CAS report has come out, they have not spoken about it. They've gone into hiding. They're sticking their fingers in their ears and going, nah. They can't hear you. Because, of course, they pushed so hard for the gender reform bill. They pushed so hard for the pushing of trans rights, of overly giving trans rights more rights than other people, of the destruction of women's rights in order to push trans rights. That now that this report has come out and it's seen as being absolutely monstrous what's been happening to children, that they're in a position now that they cannot address it at all. They know the moment people get onto that subject, they're on a hiding to nothing. They cannot win. And so they do what they always do. They run away and hide. Let's take a look. So SNP refused to give public statement about the CAS review as Humza Yousaf is under pressure to ban puberty blockers. Remember, this is the man that went to court to ensure that kids could go on and do all this thing, that they could just call themselves girls if they wanted. Oh, look, I'm a boy, but now I'm a girl. And why? Have you been assessed medically and had a psychological evaluation? No, I just want to do it. And that's fine then. Here, let's have your balls cut off, put a little pretty frock on. Oh, yes, you're a very nice little boy, aren't you? And now you're a very girly little boy. There's a lot on the left that will like you. The Scottish Government is under pressure to declare publicly what its plans are for responding to the damning CAS review about gender identity and healthcare for children, where they were saying basically that everything that's gone on has been so utterly devastating and destructive and that should never, ever have happened. And of course, this review will be based, or will be the basis of possibly the largest class action, I think, against the NHS, possibly against any branch of government ever in British history. It's looking like it's going to run into billions with a B. The Scottish Government has been blasted after refusing to give a ministerial statement about the CAS review at Holyrood. They're scared. These people, you've got to remember, these people are absolute moral cowards. Vacuous. They dare not stand up and be counted. They know they've chosen the wrong side. And rather than standing there, putting their hands up and saying, I'm sorry, we got it wrong, they're just ignoring the problem in the vain hope that it goes away. Well, it's not going away. SNP ministers are under growing pressure to provide clarity about the results, or what the results of the damning publication means for Scottish health care. Calls have been made for the SNP executive to ban the prescription of puberty blockers to gender-confused children until it fully reviews the report, which they are fully considering at the moment. But Sandyford Clinic remains open and is the only premises in the UK which offers gender-changing treatment to kids and teenagers, even though it's now been shown to be utterly damaging and will lead to people ending their own lives at a massively higher rate. And it's, there's also that massive problem of detransitioning that no one ever wants to talk about. It's seen as the dark arts. They don't want to do it. The press didn't want to speak about it. I guarantee now that the press will reverse ferret as well. And the press will be highlighting the issues of detransitioning, highlighting how bad it is, and oh, look at these terrible things the press will be saying. The complete opposite of all the woke wankery that's gone on for maybe the last 5 years over this issue. It will, of course, also, hopefully, be the final end of Stonewall. They'll no longer receive funding. Why would you pay people hundreds of thousands of pounds when their sole aim is to destroy children? Anyway, no national, and this is the telling, this is the cowardice, No nationalist ministers have commented publicly on the cash review as of yet, with the report being seen as a pivotal moment in the trans debate. Harry Potter author J.K. Rowling has stated her anger towards anyone who advertised or supported the transing of children. Dr. Hilary Cass concluded that kids are accessing gender identity services in England needed to be provided with holistic care, including, and the most important thing of all, screening for neurodevelopmental conditions and a mental health assessment. And this is something I've said many, many times, and you can go back, you can watch all my videos on this. I can prove everything I've said. She found that teenagers in Britain have been allowed to change their gender based on remarkably weak evidence, and warned there was a lack of high quality research on the effects of giving children puberty blockers and hormones, and hit out at the toxic debate over the issues. Now, I've been saying that children have been rushed through, transed, operated, bits removed, bits inserted, body chemistry altered permanently. Some of them have been on the autism spectrum, some are grieving, some have been abused. Some are being abused by their parents because they may be gay, but their parents would rather have a trans child than a gay child. So you're getting trans housing. These things happen, and I've been saying it's happening, and everybody moans. Not genuine, normal people like like the 99% of my viewers, of course. You're all sensible people, but you do get the loons and going, oh no, that never happens, this never happens. Well, now we see, yes, it does. And with the figure of 97.5% of people going through Tavistock not being trans, not being suitable for this, you have to ask why these doctors were so eager to experiment on children, to do experimental drug use, to do experimental surgery on children. It's a crime against humanity, and these people need to be held. Literally, think Nuremberg, and then you walk them out and you show them the rope for what they've done. The Scottish Tories requested a ministerial statement next week at the Scottish Parliament. That this has been rebuffed by the Minister for Parliamentary Business, George Adam. It means the government is still to outline its position on puberty blockers. Running scared. Absolutely horrified, terrified. They do not want anyone discussing it because they know their position that they've held for years has been the wrong position, and they daren't admit it. Deputy Leader of the Scottish Conservatives, Megan Gallagher, said it's extremely disappointing that the SNP government are so reluctant to explain or defend their position in the light of the Cass review. Ministers mistakenly rushed into significant gender reforms, ignoring the well-being of children, and have continued to allow the use of puberty blockers in Scotland, despite a concerning lack of evidence around their efficacy and safety. I mean, all the claims that these things were reversible have now shown to be no, lies, never were. And here's the thing, now, this instant the Cass review is out, anyone today being treated in Scotland, where the Scottish government, who are responsible for this, know how dangerous it is, know the implications, and are still allowing it, it means everyone from today, from yesterday onwards, in fact, will be able to sue the SNP government directly for anything that happens, because they knew. They've got that report. They knew. They are liable. And that alone, you'd think a government would say, stop, and cut your liability. Why aren't the lawyers for the government saying, for God's sake, stop this right now, or you're going to find yourself in court? And indeed, I would suggest that the current Health Secretary, Gray, he himself could be personally sued. He personally is responsible. He personally knows. So let's personally sue him for all damages from yesterday onwards. That would make an interesting precedent, wouldn't it? Anyway, Megan continues. She said, it's not good enough that the SNP have rejected our request for ministerial statement. Vulnerable young Scots and their families deserve clarity on this very serious issue. Ministers must heed the recommendations of the Cass review, and in the meantime, at the very least, immediately pause the use of puberty blockers. Humsey Yousaf has previously insisted that his government will need to consider the evidence over the topic, but there is yet to be any sort of restrictions put in place on gender treatment for children in Scotland. And SNP MP Joanna Cherry, another one on the side of the Angels, has written to the Chief Medical Officer, Dr. Gregor Smith, to urge him to take action. But Gregor Smith won't, because Gregor Smith is owned lock, stock and barrel by the SNP. Supposed to be independent, but isn't. And so he wants to carry on transitioning predominantly white children because, you know, he doesn't care about the people of Scotland. He doesn't care about the damage it's doing. And he's quite happy to ignore the Cass report and all the implications that has for child safety. If you are ignoring child safety, if you're ignoring this as a matter of urgency and you're thinking that child safety is not important, then you need to be on a register, Humza Yousaf. Coming up. So there we have it. Every day from now until they ban this and stop this, the SNP are actively harming children. They are going out of their way to ensure children are harmed, sterilised, destroyed, their bodies ruined forever, taking their futures away. And Humza Yousaf likes this. He must do. If he didn't, he'd do something about it. And so the very fact that he's not, he's probably thinking, yeah, but they're predominantly white children, and I don't like white people, so it's a quicker way of ending them if we can sterilise them all, isn't it? That must be what's going through his head. There can be no other reason. Surely, if he thought anything of protection of children, he'd stop it now. So presumably, A, he doesn't protect children, and B, he's thinking, well, we all know he's anti-white racist, so he's probably thinking, yeah, it's a useful little thing, isn't it? It's like COVID in old people. Only it's a different kind. It's a different kind of genocide now. It's genocide of the children. I shall stop there. I shall come up. I am up. I shall stop there and I shall finish the video. Thank you very much for watching. Do please hit the subscribe button, ring the bell, leave a like, leave a comment, please share, and let me know what you think. Till next time, stay safe, stay well, and I will speak to you later. Bye.